Agricultural pest problems and actions to alleviate them are as old as the beginning of crop cultivation. The earliest record of pest technology seems to be the use of sulfur by ancient Sumerians about 2500 BC. The concept of pest management grew out of the discontent with the purely insecticidal approach to pest control of the 1950s. Pesticides and insecticides constitute an important component in agricultural development and protection of public health in India, since the tropical climate is very conducive to pest breeding. There are about 20 major diseases which have been brought under control by the use of pesticides. Therefore, in this context, the following modules like pesticides and insecticides, classes of insecticides, benefits of pesticides, hazardous effects and current trends in pesticide usage will be discussed. The term pesticide is an all-inclusive word meaning killer of pests, derived from the Latin suffix "cida", which means killer. Pesticides are legally classed as economic poisons and are defined as any substance used for controlling, preventing, destroying, repelling or mitigating any pest. According to this classification, any chemicals such as attractants, repellents, chemosterilants, hormonal agents, etc. are also designated as pesticides, although from toxicological viewpoint they may not be directly involved in killing the pest. Pesticide use increased phenomenally since the development of modern synthetic poisons in the 1940s. After a steady increase through the 1960s and 1970s, pesticide use reached an all-time high in the early 1980s. Since then, use seems to have plateaued and is expected to decline somewhat in future years. In agriculture production, pesticides are regular component of most ecosystem and their development has given rise to entirely new ways of growing crops. Indeed, we could not consider using such energy and soil conserving approaches as no-till cropping without them. Moreover, the quantity and quality of our food and fiber production could not be maintained without sustainable pesticide inputs. The term pesticide covers a wide range of compounds including insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, rodenticides, nematicides, plant growth regulators and others. Let us know some different classes of pesticides and their functions. Acaricides, which kills mites, algicides kills algae, avicides kills birds, bactericides which kills bacteria, fungicides kills fungi, herbicides kills weeds, insecticides kills insects, molluscicides which kills snails and slugs, nematocides kills nematodes, ovicides which kills eggs, pesticide which kills fish, rodenticides kills rodents. Coming to insecticides. The word insecticide literally means killer of insects. Insecticides and other pesticides are some of the most important chemicals used for the well-being of human populations. They are indispensable in maintaining high levels of health, nutrition and quality surroundings. They rank with medicines in their impact on our existence. Insecticides are particular kinds of pesticides for killing insects and other invertebrates. They account for about 36% of the pesticide quantity used in agriculture, but they represent more than 50% of that used for home and garden purpose. In addition, about 750 insecticidal active ingredients with thousands of uses are registered with the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Increasing insecticide use since World War II is the result of several advantages that these chemicals have over other techniques for insect control. Of utmost importance is the effectiveness of insecticides. They can treat a problem while it is in progress, reducing numbers to insignificant levels. Insecticide action is rapid. It usually takes effect within hours and alleviate a problem within a few days. In particular, rapid action allows this tactic to cure a problem by dampening population peaks before major losses are sustained. The insecticidal approach relied only on ability to kill insects, and killing rather than crop protection became a major preoccupation in pest technology. Insecticides have been classified in several ways according to application or chemical composition. If application is the main focus, they may be grouped according to the site of insect encounter. They can be listed under the headings stomach poisons, contact poisons and fumigants. Stomach poisons enter the insect body through the gut and fatal only after they are eaten. It is mainly the oldest insecticides that fall within this group, and few true stomach poisons are used today also. One such stomach poison still used is boric acid for use against cockroaches and crawling insects in the household. Contact poisons are the major group of modern insecticides. They usually enter the body when the insect walks or crawls over a treated surface. If the treated surface is of food source like a leaf, these poisons also enter digestive tract and be absorbed through it. A fumigant's contact site is the tracheal system. Fumigants are insecticides that become gases at temperature about 5 degrees centigrade. These insecticides are applied to enclosures and to soil. Being volatile, they enter the tracheal system, circulate and subsequently are absorbed by body tissues. This older classification has some limitations since at present there are many compounds which can act both as stomach poisons and contact poisons, and others which can act in all categories. Insecticides are further grouped according to their nature and source. Therefore, some insecticides are inorganic which lack carbon atoms, and others are organic which possess carbon atoms. Most modern insecticides are organic, and these are even subdivided as natural or synthetic. Natural insecticides are produced by refining natural substances. These consist mainly of botanical insecticides, which are derived from plants, and mineral oils obtained by refining petroleum. Botanical insecticides have wide usage, but oils are used mainly for suppression of fruit tree insects and mosquito larvae. Most insecticides used today are synthetics, manufactured by chemically joining elements or simple compounds. The most precise method of grouping insecticide is according to their chemical makeup. Several classes of compounds can be designated according to active ingredients, that is, chemicals responsible for the toxic effect. The three major classes are organophosphates, carbamates, and pyrethroids. Among these three, organophosphate is the most commonly used insecticide. The organophosphates were developed in Germany during World War II as a substitute for nicotine, an insecticide used against Colorado potato beetle, that is Leptinotassa disseminata. The discovery of the insecticidal properties of this group was associated with the other German studies on related chemicals, the so-called nerve gases. Organophosphates are derived from phosphoric acid and are some of the most toxic insecticides. As opposed to the chlorinated hydrocarbons, a class of long-lasting insecticides, they are unstable in the presence of light and quickly break down into non-toxic compounds. Breakdown can occur within a few hours or days, as compared with months or years for many of the chlorinated hydrocarbons. For this reason, and because they are effective, organophosphates have replaced the chlorinated hydrocarbons in many programs. In fact, they are the most widely used group of insecticides today. Some of the best studies of benefits of pesticides have estimated the economic consequences of a ban on pesticide use. A study by Knudsen and others describes possible effects on US society of a hypothetical ban of herbicides, insecticides and fungicides. Without pesticides, US food production would drop and food prices would soar. With lower production and higher prices, US farmers would be less competitive in global markets for major grains, cotton and peanuts. US exports of corn, wheat and soybeans would drop 27% with a loss of 1,32,000 jobs. Dennis Avery, in 1999, the director of Center for Global Food Issues at the Hudson Institute in the US, wrote in the Wall Street Journal, "Humanity in the 21st century can banish hunger, end nutritional deficits in its children and save virtually all of the remaining wild lands in the process. But there are only two ways to do it. Either murder 4 billion people or use chemicals and biotechnology to maintain and increase yields on land already under farming." In this way, pesticides are a tool to deliver food security. Pesticides used in stored products can prolong the viable life of the produce and prevent huge post-harvest losses from pests and diseases. Effective control of pests can have consequences beyond the geographic and chronological range of the initial intervention. If pest numbers are suppressed by many farmers at once, it can have an area-wide effect. In other words, the source population for infection or infestation of future crops is reduced. The threat to subsequent crops is therefore much lower even without further intervention. Even after crops have been safely harvested, insecticides may be necessary. Dales and Golub in 1997 reported that insecticides can protect stored grain from insect spoilage. Their trials in Tanzania showed that the larger grain borer, that is Prostiphanus truncatus and Cytophilus species, can be controlled for at least 9 months by applications of insecticide mixture used in small quantities as protectants of shelled maize. Unfortunately, insecticides have important disadvantages. Some problems occur within the cropping system itself from frequent use. Insecticide resistance, pest resurgence and pest replacement can occur following repetitive application of these compounds. Therefore, we may see decreasing effectiveness with their use. Moreover, insecticides may have a negative impact on non-target species like honeybees, fish and wildlife both within and outside agro ecosystems. Furthermore, insecticides presents risks to the users. Many insecticidal compounds are highly toxic to humans and can injure or kill when applied improperly. During the next 50 years, which is likely to be the final period of rapid agriculture expansions, demand for food by a wealthier and 50% larger global population will be a major driver of the global environmental change. This would be accompanied by 2.4 to 2.7 fold increasing in nitrogen and phosphorus driven eutrophication of terrestrial, freshwater and near shore marine ecosystem and comparable increases in insecticide use. This eutrophication and habitat destruction would cause unparalleled ecosystem simplification, losses of ecosystem services and species extinctions. Significant scientific advances, regulatory, technological and policy changes are needed to control the environmental impacts of agricultural expansion. There is now overwhelming evidence that some of these chemicals do pose potential risk to humans and other life forms and unwanted side effects to the environment. No segment of the population is completely protected against exposure to pesticides and potentially serious health effects. The worldwide deaths and chronic illness due to pesticide poisoning number about 1 million per year. Pesticide self-poisoning is a major clinical problem in many parts of the world, probably killing about 3 lakh people every year. Although most deaths occur in rural areas of the developing world, pesticide poisoning is also a problem in industrialized countries where it may account for a significant proportion of deaths from self-poisoning that do occur. The benefits from pesticides of increased yields from sufficient pest control may be outweighed by developed resistance in pests and killing of beneficial natural enemies. Other negative effects are human health problems and lower prices because of consumers' desire to buy organic products. The resistance of vectors to insecticides is a real handicap to the use of insecticide treated materials. In the face of a growing human population and increased urbanization, the demand for pesticide will only rise. However, the risks of pesticides, whether real or perceived, may force changes in the way these chemicals are used. Scientists and lawmakers are working towards pest control plans that are environmentally sound, effective and profitable. The best pesticide policies will reconcile environmental concern with economic realities. Pests must be managed and farmers must survive economically. Integrated pest management methods will continue to reduce our dependence on synthetic pesticides. IPM has always implied that pesticides are one of the many weapons in the pest control store, which includes genetics, biological controls and plant production practices. IPM has research and real life success stories to keep it in the forefront of pest control. IPM is here to stay. That does not mean that IPM will not be redefined or adopt new methods as knowledge in the area of pest management increases. Already there are new concepts and buzzwords, that is low input agriculture and sustainable agriculture, which are basically IPM methods with slightly different approaches or emphasis. Coming to significance of pesticides and insecticides. Expansion and intensification of cultivation are among the predominant global changes of this century. Intensification of agriculture by use of high yielding crop varieties, fertilization, irrigation and pesticides has contributed substantially to the tremendous increases in food production over the past 50 years. Land conversion and intensification, however, also alter the biotic interactions and patterns of resource availability in ecosystems and can have serious local, regional and global environmental consequences. The use of ecologically based management strategies can increase the sustainability of agriculture production while reducing off-site consequences. It is difficult to imagine a technology that would produce the amount of food and fiber and maintain the level of public health that we have today without pesticides. The challenge ahead is to reduce our dependency on pesticides and insecticides.